So, I think it's really important for us to have a quick conversation about transportation. Every day, when you go from home to school and from school to home or anywhere else, you're probably not walking. Could you imagine how long it would take if you did? And even if you propelled yourself using something like a skateboard or a bicycle, it would still take a long time. Which is why we're so lucky that engineers have designed transport vehicles to get us from place to place. And it's not just us. Think about every time you get one of those Amazon packages in the mail, or you get your mail period, someone is transporting that stuff from one place to another. And those Amazon packages, they don't just go from some warehouse downtown. They get shipped sometimes from across the country and across various oceans. The Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean on the planet. And so it's got to get here either by boat or by airplane. So thank goodness we have engineers who have created all kinds of amazing different transport vehicles over time. Not only are transport vehicles really good at getting us from place to place, but they're really good at also getting super heavy things from place to place. Could you imagine if you had to literally carry the new refrigerator that your family bought all the way from the store to your house? It would be impossible. And it would be super tiring. So thank goodness we have transport vehicles who can get heavy things from place to place. Could you imagine trying to swim from this island to go to California to see Disneyland? It would be almost impossible. So thank goodness we have transport vehicles. And you know what? Engineers didn't just make the transport vehicles so they could get us from place to place. They do it so that we can get there safely. And really, the most important thing is that we not just get there and get there quickly, but we get there safely. I bet you can stop and think about a number of different characteristics and features of your cars, modern cars, that actually have safety features built into them just to make sure that we're okay every day. So, we're going to start by thinking about the problem of getting us or getting our stuff from place to place fast, easy, and safely. And that's what the problem justification is all about. We are going to justify why it's important that we have modern transport vehicles to help us live in this modern world, to make our lives easy and help us live longer, more productive lives. We're going to start off by taking a look at all the information that we've been spending a little bit of time talking about so far in our Mission to Mars presentation that happened yesterday. We know, for example, that you've been challenged to be an aerospace engineer tasked with creating a working Mars rover prototype that uses simple machines and is going to be taking equipment from various sites to other places, right? Well, we also want to just make sure that we're aware that we're not just making a regular transport vehicle, we're making a prototype. And that prototype is going to help us to make sure that any money or time or energy spent on an eventual product will be for a good purpose and for a good reason, because it will be less likely to fail. In this problem justification, we're really trying to answer one question, and that is, why do we need safe and reliable transportation? So we're going to take some time to explain and give reasons for why it's important to have transportation vehicles both here on Earth and on Mars that are safe and work well. It's also an important thing for us to think about and explain why we should be building and testing our prototypes before we send any product to market, especially something as important as a rover being sent all the way out, hundreds of millions of miles away, to Mars. So, down below you have a box that says, please put your thoughts in here. I'd like to hear your thoughts about those two questions. And if you need a little bit of help to round out your questions or to help you think about it more deeply, I've given you some helpful things to think about as you write your response below. For example, think about what are some of the problems that vehicles could face trying to transport various things from place to place. Or what happens if the equipment doesn't get to the right place? Or what happens if it doesn't get there safely? You could think about the differences between transporting goods and people here on the planet Earth, and what are some of the differences between how things would need to be transported on Mars. I mean, Mars doesn't have any infrastructure like we do have here. And finally, you can think about how prototypes help designers find problems or weak spots before they commit to building the final thing. So, lots of questions that you can think about as you begin to prepare your answers to help justify why it's important for us to be able to create not just only prototypes and test them out, but why it's important for us to have safe, reliable transportation services. Finally, down below, you'll see there's a rubric for this assignment. In order to get to that 7-8 band, you need to explain and justify the need for the solution to this problem. The problem is the scientific equipment need to get to each of the different various research sites. And if they don't, we can't conduct the tests. Or you could say the problem is that you need to get to school or get home from school each day safely and reliably. That could be the problem. Or maybe you're just waiting for that awesome new pair of shoes to get to you from Amazon. You need them to get there safely and reliably. So you're going to answer those questions for us, and you're going to be explaining and justifying. Just so you're aware, the difference between explaining and justifying is this. Explaining gives a detailed account, including reasons or causes for something, and justifying means that you're providing evidence. You might not necessarily have any evidence per se, but you might have some personal examples that could actually help support your point of view or your position. Do you have a personal example of maybe, one time your family was really grateful to have the safety features on your car? Or maybe you were really glad that Amazon had some type of checking system to ensure you got the package and your neighbor didn't? So make sure to use any and every personal example that you can think of to help you explain and justify why we need safe and reliable transportation, as well as any personal reasons for why it's a good idea to create a draft or create a mock-up or create a prototype of something before you spend all of your time actually building the actual product. You can use examples from the real world. You could use examples from, Apple or Tesla or others if you feel they apply. You'll have the entire class to work on this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about both safe and reliable transportation and prototypes. If you get stuck, don't hesitate to let me know. Good luck.